Hello and welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show. With the usual suspects, we have Smile and Howie over here. What's going on, Howie?
How are you?
I'm doing well. It's mellow week. The crazy week was last week. Now this is my first day of kind of relaxing, so I'm doing well. And of course, Pastor Jay from Swing in Temecula. How you doing?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm well. I'm actually very relaxed. It's been kind of a crazy couple weeks, but I've got some time to chill, which I need this summer because it's summer. There's not snow on the ground, so it's nice to be able to like do things other than worry about a gig, you know.
Yeah.
But speaking of gigs, something I've been doing for I guess over 14 years now is when I have a gig, when I can, I produce a gig log for it. And Howie sent me something, and I didn't respond to what he sent me. He sent it to me, but I've been thinking about it. When did you send that over, Howie?
I sent that yesterday. I didn't know you were. I saw that you were busy with your mom, and I knew you wouldn't be on. We did the last night's show.
Great show
on that sort of thing. But I thought, man, it's like, if you read it, it's I read it generically so as not to out someone, but like it's an insult, and then he goes, thank you in advance. I'm like, what?
Thanks in advance. Yeah. Okay. Well, I can do a screen share on that because I have it here all ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So here is what we're talking about. Somewhere on the interwebs, Howie ran across this. To all of the people who make gig logs, I have a few questions.
Yep.
Why?
I remember
Who are
this.
you making them for? Do you expect an ROI, which is return on investment? Do your customers care? Do you shoot the whole thing and cut it down, or do you shoot short clips and put it together? And again, why? They seem like a lot of work for very little return. TIA.
Nope.
Wow. Let me insult you and then thank you in advance.
Yes.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and break this down. Okay. So to all of the people who make gig logs, I have a few questions. I can't speak for all the people who make gig logs. I cannot do that. But seeing how I've been doing them for 14 years, I can speak for myself. His first question is why? So I made some notes. I want to try to answer the questions honestly and without any sarcasm or anything else. This is real. Why? The reason I started doing gig logs in the first place, and to my knowledge, I'm the second person to do this. The first person was Jonathan Lewis, aka Alaskans, aka DJ Tudor. He did a gig log, and he didn't even know what to call it when he did it. I guess it's a gig log. I guess that's what it is, and he did it. In my head, I'm thinking, how interesting would it be to show this guy over in Wales, who I've never met before, what it's like to do an event where I live. So the initial reason, and part of the main reason that I still do gig logs, as I have in my notes here, it's to just show other DJs are not alone. And that's it. So Jason,
I hear Michael Jackson in the background.
Right. Well, I'm thinking, you're in Temecula. I don't know how many DJs you hang with and
A few.
Talk to, but I know there are people, including myself in those days. I didn't have any close DJ friends. I had associates. I would talk to them when I needed something or there were gigs to exchange or they needed something or whatever. But if it wasn't a business thing, we didn't talk. So
and everyone was protective back then.
I went out and
no one would tell you anything.
There's that, but then there's just the whole sense of I'm thinking in my head, there's this fictional DJ in the middle of Montana who is busy, goes out every weekend, does a pretty good job at what they do, is in demand, but has nobody to talk to about this. Tries to tell his wife about it or his girlfriend or whatever, and they're like, yeah, whatever. I don't know what you're talking about. His friends are into other things. He's the only game in town. He's got nobody to talk to or relate to or anything else. So I'm thinking, how cool would it be if this person can log on and see there's somebody several hundred miles away in a different city doing a very similar thing that he's doing every weekend and just going through the same crap. It was literally outreach is what started out to be. And I made some notes in particular of the things that I feel like people are looking at in my gig logs. They're looking at the loading process. They're looking at loading up. Like the day started, hey guys, it's 2:30. I'm on my way to do this event in the middle of nowhere. So you got to go to the event. Then you set it up and you're looking at the hall. I'm over here. I'm designated to be over here. This works well tonight because the dance floor's here and the crowd's here. Or maybe it's setup has me in the corner and there's tables between me and the dance floor. This is not good. Or maybe it's a situation where I don't have room to set up, or I'm in front of an exit, or something stupid's happening. I'm showing all of this. But I'm trying to show somebody else somewhere else that they're not alone. Somebody else is going through this crap too, you know? And it's not just the wins either. That's one thing that I want to just stress. There's struggles involved with this. So, I mean, I'm thinking, you know, I mentioned the setup struggle. The halls can be a pain in the butt. Customers can be difficult. Requests coming in can be crazy. There's all kinds of stuff that are factors that, you know, only a DJ would know about and understand. And I feel like I talk about those things in my gig logs. And again, it's not just the wins, it's the losses, it's the failures. They happen, you know?
True.
So it's not just, hey, look at me, I'm fantastic. Yeah, I have some superstar knock it out of the park gig logs. I have those things.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have a lot of, God, I can't get anybody to dance tonight. Look, the floor's empty. I've got those too. So it's the good and the bad and the ugly, you know?
Well, you got to, I think you have to, and you've always been good at that. I just looked it up. My first gig log was April 10th, 2010. And it came from watching your gig logs and others. And I thought, and I'm not going to watch it now. And it's only 3 minutes and 32 seconds long. So it's obviously a very short one. Mm-hmm. But I remember the wedding, and I remember the point being, show the hall. I didn't go into load in. I didn't go into a lot of the issues. And you'll probably answer this in your second part, but like we said last night on Howie's show, I viewed it as an opportunity for a customer to see what this venue would look like. Mm-hmm. Understanding that if I'm getting married at the Milwaukee Dome and I'm doing a wedding at the Milwaukee Dome and I put up a video called Wedding at the Milwaukee Dome, that might get on their radar and they might go, DJ J was just at the Milwaukee Dome for 150 people. Look at this setup. This is how I want mine to look. Oh, look at those flowers. I wonder who the florist was. And on and on and on. Mm-hmm. It's an informational video, not only for other DJs to see what you're doing, but I think for future, present, even past clients to then reference as, look at this. This is what an actual event, because let's face it, venues put up photos.
You're getting way ahead of me here, is what you're doing.
Okay.
Because I got notes here.
Okay.
I'll let you go. I'll go through this briefly and I'll get to your part here.
Okay.
I'll jump right because I was trying to go in order of the questions.
Yeah.
That's the way I structured my notes. So if I look here, his first question is why. I'm still answering why. I haven't gotten to this part yet, but I'll get there. So the other reason, obviously, just to kind of help other DJs, there have been times when we've had new speakers come on the market and people have questioned, hey, can you use these speakers for X amount of people in this size hall? And you say yes, and they say, no, it's not possible. You can show it's possible in the gig log.
Right.
Say, hey, I'm using this product with this audience for this audience. You can see my results. So, I mean, if you have very different sound objectives than me, that's fine, but it is possible. So on social media, a lot of DJs will be very absolute about everything. You cannot do it like this. You cannot. Yeah. It's not possible.
Yeah.
You hear it all the time.
Yeah, but
I'm not that guy. I'm like, you can actually. It depends on, where you're coming from on this. I'll prove it to you. Look. Here it is. So there's a lot of that. And it's the same thing with lighting. I mean, if I would have told any of you a few years ago that I was going to bring 6 battery-powered essential par fixtures to my event and use them as uplighting, and that's it, you might have thought I was crazy. But it's effective, and I've proven it over and over again. And I've never said in one of my gig logs, nor has it been said to me, and I've hidden it from anybody, where someone has said, you know, it would have been a much better party if there was more lights.
It's true.
Or it would have been a much better party if it had more bass.
Yeah, if it was louder. Never heard.
Or it would have been a much better party if
it
said, you know, JBL in your speaker instead of whoever EV is, because I don't know that name. That doesn't happen. But
it would have been much better if you had dots on the bride's white dress.
It would have been better with lasers or fog or aerial effects. No one has said that. No one has said that to me.
Right.
That what I didn't bring was enough. So I got to put my money where my mouth is on this stuff. If I'm talking about things and trying to, you know, I don't even know it's advice. I'm just telling people this is what I do. And then some people want to try it too. I'm saying, hey, I do this. It works for me. So they try
experience.
Yeah, and somebody else, no, that's not possible. Hey, yeah, it actually is. Here. So that's a reason for the gig logs, right? Something else would be simple music selection. Now, today, we can't just play tunes on YouTube. We will get flagged. I've had to change the way I do my gig logs this year because it's gotten so weird like that. But in the past, I've shown, hey, you know what? If you really want to get old people excited, play Engelbert Humperdinck After the Lovin'. And people looking at me like, no way. Never heard of it. It's a terrible song. Nobody knows it. I'm like,
great song.
Watch. I'm going to play it. You're going to see a bunch of people, 65, 75 years old out there getting freaky. I'm not kidding. I'm showing you this is how it really works.
Yeah.
And different sets of music I've done. I mean, you got to read between the lines on this stuff. I'm only showing short clips of things. But I'm showing that too, you know, hey, this does work for this audience. This is the response you can get from this song if you're playing it in front of the right audience. This is not, if you dismiss it or if it doesn't work in your market, that's fine. But I'm showing you it is possible this song can work, or these mixes can work, or this genre can work for this type of audience. It's possible. Whether it works in your market is another thing. That's something you have to figure out. But here it is. So it's kind of a teaching tool in that regard. The next question was return on investment. Is there a return on investment? And this kind of gets into what Jay was saying a little bit. I'm getting there. I'm getting there with what Jay was saying. There is no monetary gain from the companies that I've worked with or from you guys who watch. Yes, there's YouTube monetary gain from watching the ads and stuff because I monetize the videos, but no. However, what it is a gain from me. If I can think of a gain, return on investment, I can go back and I can say, okay, this is where I was 10 years ago. And this is what I was doing. This is what the setup looked like. This is the hall I was at. These are the results that I got. And then I can look at something I did last week at the same hall with what I'm doing today, not only with my setup, but as an artist, and see how I've grown or digressed. That happens too.
Right.
Then I check myself. Hey, wait a minute. It was better then. I better step it up. So there is that. It's almost like making notes for myself.
Oh, that's a good point.
A literal log of what I've done. This is my body of work. I can talk about it all day long, or I can do it and have no record of it. But if I have a record of it of some kind, I can track it and I can show what I've done.
It's kind of like when someone, keyboards, video, or it didn't happen. You got video.
Yeah. I don't know about everyone else in the room, but I don't have this photographic memory. I know Jimmy DePalma seems to. He seems to remember everything. But
hey, whoa, time out. Excuse me, you don't have a photographic memory?
No.
Oh, so if I mention a certain song producer and a vinyl release from like 1973,
That's not a photograph.
You're not going to snap back with it.
That's something I hear, and that's just something that I'm very Rain Man about. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
But that's different than a photographic memory.
I'm like, dude, trust me, you have a photographic.
I remember this couple's name. I remember the hall. I remember the gig. You know how many gigs I've done? I don't. I don't know how many gigs I've done. I have no clue. But the gig logs give me an idea how to trace some of the stuff. So in that regard, I do have a bit of a gain because I can record my work and track it from my own personal interest. So that's a return on investment, and the investment really is only time. Now we're gonna get into Jay territory, because the big question on here, I felt like the one where it was like challenging you. Do customers really care? Okay, here's the part where I have to just say everything that I've said so far. I've never said any. Jay has. Jay doesn't for customers. I've never done these for customers. This is not about marketing.
Right.
For me, it's about helping other DJs. It's never. I've never tried to use it as a marketing tool. I mean, maybe I could. I've just never done it.
But it is a marketing tool.
Well, it might be, but
essentially what you're doing is showing what you do for a living. To me, it's no different than if you were a contractor and you showed a video of you going into a house and, putting an add-on to the back bedroom, and you showed the before, the during, and the after. That's marketing. So, I mean, it's essentially a marketing tool. It has to be.
It can be a marketing tool, but I never made them as marketing. If I were to build them as marketing tools, I probably wouldn't be as honest as I am in them. I probably wouldn't say things I didn't like. I probably wouldn't show some certain things. I would make them different. They would be shorter. They would be more for a customer's attention span. They would be pushing hot buttons for the customer, but I don't do it that. Now, if you do it, that's fine. I'm talking about me personally here.
Right.
I never used them as a marketing tool. They are for helping DJs.
I think
that's why I do it.
And I get that, but that's a soft answer to, in my opinion, just for me, the obvious overtone, which is, if you don't think it's a marketing tool and it is, then you almost need to start it with, hey, everybody, it's Brian, it's the BSR. I'm doing a wedding today. And for all you DJs, you almost have to set the tone. I don't ever say to DJs in a video, I just say, if you're getting married at this venue here in Milwaukee, this is what it looks like with 150 people. If you have other questions, post them below. And as we go, I'll show some of the dancing and the cake cutting and this and that. I don't look at it as saving money, but as I said last night, I want to say it's like 8 or 10 weddings that I know for a fact. There's a gig log where the guy hired me solely based on another gig log I did.
I've had a couple like that.
Yeah, I've had like many. 8 or 10 that have done that.
It's the exception. I tell you when I get it. I tell you when I do get it. And I have gotten it more than once with a specific clientele. And that is same-sex marriages. Those people Google it and see a DJ in Milwaukee doing this, see what I've done, see that there's family there. Hey, we like your style. We see you're cool with this. We want to talk. But I didn't put them out there. Like,
well, how did they know that you were cool with it?
I didn't try to put them out there for a client.
I think it was just a happy accident, Jay. I mean, if you Google certain things, Brian's going to come up in a lot of those things on a Google search with, a link to a YouTube video.
Right.
I mean, that's how I discovered him years ago. And then I was like, hey, this guy thinks like me. So I started following him. Then we became friends. But I was looking at a piece of gear and I typed in and the Google first thing that came up was, oh, well, the manufacturer run and Brian.
Sure. No, and I get that. I found him because he was a jerk. Because he was rude and he was obnoxious and he put down the minivan. And that's how I found him. And I confronted him in Chicago and it didn't come to blows. But that's genuine. I found him because after Mobile Beat, I'm like, man, there's all these videos on this YouTube thing. I got to look this up. And I put in his Mobile Beat, and there's my van, and here's him going like,
that's the first thing you saw.
Yeah, but in his defense, you're driving a minivan, you deserved it.
Well, I was bumping Club Therapy by Peace Division. I think I was representing pretty well. But that we ended up, and I love Brian to death, and it was a great video. And his cut and the guy he was interviewing, it was funny as hell. And we ended up doing a video.
You don't watch movies, so you've never seen Zombieland.
No, but when it's all said and done,
Howie's laughing. He knows what I'm talking about.
I don't. But
Woody Harrelson's character in Zombieland would rather walk than drive a minivan in the apocalypse. In fact, he'll smash the windows out of the thing and make it blow up because he won't drive them. I'm that guy.
Look at Get Shorty. Travolta was like had a minivan.
Right. It was very ironic. It's kind of.
And if you've never driven a minivan, trust me, I don't care what kind of SUV you own. I own 2 of them. Minivan's still better, more comfortable, more power. Lower to the ground, safer for children. That's why I bought the minivan. So, and it's a great DJ gig because I could sleep in it and have gear. But onto the topic at hand.
You go live in it too.
I could, but I just think, I took my lead from Brian. I'm like, I think I want to start doing something with YouTube. And this is back in like 2011, 2012. And he's like, make a decision up front. You're helping or you're doing something else. And I'm like, well, no, I think I can help. He's like, then just help.
Yeah.
And I felt, and I still to this day, when I went from my flip cam to my iPhone, gig logs were much tougher because I didn't have a stand and it was, it's my phone. It's not the same as setting up the flip on a little stand and hitting, record and then doing your thing and then later on editing. But I always thought it was still helpful. Like, hey, are you getting married at this venue? Look at the setup. And I think that becomes the ROI. And, even last night when Howie asked the question that you're now answering, Brian, I just the whole time was getting angry because I'm like, this isn't a DJ. Because if he's a DJ, God, back in the early 2000s, I had DJs handing me CDs when I walk in the club. Hey, man, here's my summer mix. Then it became a flash drive. Hey, man, here's my flash drive for my summer mix. Like, you have to promote yourself. If you don't promote yourself, you're just another DJ.
I don't want you to get me wrong. I'm not suggesting you can't use these as marketing tools. You absolutely can. I'm just saying I never have.
But I think, like I said, I think by nature, that's what they become. Your channel by nature is a marketing tool.
I told you the very few instances where I know this is what happened. It's a happy accident. It's not made for that or with that intention in mind.
Well, let me ask you this. Have you, and I certainly have, and it's on my phone. If I send you an email, it gives my name at the bottom and then a link to my YouTube channel. It just says jvj.com, which is a direct link to my YouTube channel. Have you ever said to a client or an agent or somebody, you know what, you can check if, when they say, hey, is it possible to come see you at an event? No, but you can go to my YouTube channel. Like, I've certainly said that 1,000 times. You can't come see me live, but if you'd like to see what I do, here's my YouTube channel. Here's a link. Here's a playlist of gig logs.
I actually don't. In fact, my agent used to try to send people to my YouTube channel, and they would call me and ask me about it. And I'd say, look, you can go there if you want to, but please understand that I didn't really make these videos for customers. I made them for DJs as a teaching tool. So
but that's like the best.
It may not be addressing your hot buttons or answering your questions because there's a lot of stuff in there you don't care about. Jay,
but dude, you just listen to me.
Jay, I'm not telling you it's a bad thing.
No, but I'm not telling you it doesn't happen.
What I'm telling you is I've never made the videos with that in mind. If it happens,
you did one better. You said they were a teaching tool for other DJs. So what you just told a client is, I'm the guy that's trying to help the DJs that you might hire. I'm probably the better DJ.
Oh, well, they already get that off what I mean.
You know what I'm saying?
It's showing your professionalism without saying
right, exactly.
But
right.
the videos I made were not for them. It's still fact remains not for them. But that's what I tell people. In fact, I try to tell them not to go there. You're going to see things there that were custom for somebody else. May not be what you want. So I don't know how reflective it's going to be of my work or my capabilities because we haven't talked yet. I don't know what you want yet.
Right.
But
I do the same. I say these are videos of prior weddings that's what the clients wanted, and this was the reaction. Your wedding will be different.
That was the result. Yes.
Yeah. No, 100%.
For better or for worse, that was the result.
Yeah, if you see me play the Macarena with a full dance floor, that's because that night, that's what they wanted.
That's what I played. Yeah.
Don't judge me by, I played the Macarena. And if you have to, hire another DJ.
If I was going to make them for marketing purposes, I might do them on a different channel, and I might do them with more of a DJ Bar Rick Webb production value. I wouldn't do them all punk like I do my stuff.
Right.
Because I'm just trying to be like, I'm trying to do like honest punk videos for being helpful. I'm not doing it for any other reason other than that. I'm just trying to help. And it's just the information, no fluff.
Right.
Blah. I mean, there's things I've had to do that I don't like doing. I really don't like making, eye-catching clickbait thumbnails, but I've kind of had to do it. And my views have gone up for it. It's just the nature of things. I haven't changed my style of my videos, but I've changed that.
Sell out. Oh, sorry.
I know. There is one question that this person did ask that sounded like an honest question. And it didn't sound like there was any nasty anything in there with this question and the way it was worded.
Right.
And it's this part right here where this person says, do you shoot the who thing? It means the whole thing.
The whole thing.
And cut it down, or do you shoot short clips and put it together? I don't see anything that sounds salty in that question.
I don't either.
I'm assuming it's a question with a question mark, but that looks like an honest question.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to answer that too. As far as the filming process go, it's a highlight reel. There's no reason for me to show you people eating dinner. There's no reason for me to film people eating dinner. It's boring for you. It's boring for me. It's probably boring for the people eating dinner.
Unless your meal is good. I've seen you in the past.
I've shown my plate.
Point out your plate and said, whoa, look what I've got.
Look at this.
Yeah,
that's right. That's how I roll.
But in his defense, it was barbecue.
Well, that's it. If it's good barbecue, Brian is going to include it. You're getting that highlight.
You're getting that. A nice steak or something. Hey, we're getting a steak tonight. No, sometimes I'll do that. But it's really for the DJs. So I'm busy DJing as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm not there to film a gig log. I'm there to provide a service. Mm-hmm. And when I have a minute, I will pick up. In the old days, it was the camera. Now I pick up the phone. I don't even bring a camera anymore. I'm just shooting on the phone. Mm-hmm. And I'll get a shot of something I think is interesting. Oh, right. I'm getting a good result from this. I've got good dancers. There's smiles. Let's shoot this. So I am shooting a highlight reel. But I'm missing a lot of great stuff too, because I'm busy. There have been so many times where I've been in a mix and it's going great.
And you wish you were filming.
No, I'm ready to pick up the camera or the phone and film. And then somebody comes up and wants to talk to me. I have to put it down right away because they're priority. This camera or this phone, this is not priority.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I can when I can. And I'm not, discounting because I'm filming this or whatever. And no one's ever said to me, why are you filming this? I think people kind of know what's up. But yeah, that's the process. And then I do put it together. And now I'm to the point where I will film it, getting there, set up what it looks like. I'm going to get you through dinner. And when the music starts, I start a narration over the dancing and turn the sound of the audio on the dancing bit almost to a level you can't hear because I don't want to get flagged. And I just narrate over it. And I tell you, hey, the night started like this. This happened. The bride danced all night. The uncle got drunk and threw up all over the kids, whatever, the whole thing. And then I'll kind of think, okay, how long of a clip do I have here of dancing? Sometimes it's more than a minute or two. Sometimes I've got a really good, solid, 5 minutes of this stuff. So I make sure I talk about this stuff for 5 minutes so I have narration over it. You can see what I'm doing, and if you listen real close, you can hear it, but I'm not going to get flagged over this stuff.
Right.
You know,
I get that. I don't monetize.
Then I'll wrap it. But when I feel like I've talked over the entire dancing portion, then camera will cut to me, and I'll give my thoughts, my final thoughts on it or whatever. You know. Mm-hmm. So that's my style in shooting these things. Everybody does it their own way.
We appreciate it as DJs because you'll make reference to like this was the challenge, or there's a famous one you did years ago. It's at that venue where you had to come this crazy load in. It was in a park and all this. Yeah. I
dumped my lights in a puddle and
exactly. Yeah. But that's the thing. There are videos that stand out because you're like, wow, I learned a lot that one. Or I learned this and this. I learned this and this. I haven't shot a true gig log in probably a couple of years because A, the camera changed. And B, I realized these are great weddings, but I really need to focus on me mixing. Yeah. I need to focus on my job and not focus on trying to, like, is the camera running? Is the angle good? So I just kind of started doing the short clips to Instagram. Mm-hmm. I could invest in another camera. I could start doing it again, but I'm going to be right back where I started because I never monetize my gig logs because there's copyright on them.
If you watch
I just wanted to show that I could DJ and have people be excited because I felt that was the great divide. It was, oh, is he just going to hit play and play the chicken dance? Or, oh, wow, I saw you mix this song and this song. That was really cool. And I've had that because I promote it that way. I say, if you'd like to see what I've done in the past, here's an example of it. And then I leave it out there for them to determine whether they watch it or not. And it's surprising to me how many clients will come back and be like, man, you did a mix in this one wedding of like, Don't Stop Believing with Pitbull. We'd love that at our wedding.
What I don't do at the gig logs, a couple of things I don't do. It's neither here nor there. He didn't ask, but I'll just volunteer it. I don't normally show how I'm doing things when it comes to that. I'll show the equipment that I'm using, but I won't show you how I'm doing things. One reason I won't show you that is because I can't film and do with one hand.
Right.
Okay. I'm a one-handed dude doing one-handed gig logs. It's been that way for 10 years. So I literally have to have nothing to do for at least 20 seconds to pick that phone up, record a quick shot, and done. Right. I have to have nothing to do. So you don't see me, oh, I'm using the crossfader now. Oh, I'm adjusting the EQ. I might show you where my settings are if you care. Or, hey, look, you know what? Plays an echo chamber. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do more of a mid cut than I usually do. And I'm going to turn the bass back and see if that helps a little bit. I might talk about that.
Sure.
Or it might be a situation where it's like, you know what? I got a big space to cover. And, normally I back that mid off because I want more highs and lows. But I think what I'm going to do today is I'm going to throw some mid in there because I need the throw. So I'm bringing it up a little bit. I'll talk about things like that. Again, I can't say enough. I'm trying to help DJs with this stuff.
Right.
What they get out of it is whatever they get out of it.
But I think people respect and understand the priority of the event.
Yeah.
They understand. And I would much rather see a DJ who's more concerned with the event in front of him than dealing with the possibility of a second event off the back end.
The other thing that I kind of wince at a little bit is when people say things like, I want to watch you do a grand entrance. It's like, well, how the hell would I do that? I would have to bring someone in to film me doing that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that this is supposed to be just kind of an in the moment thing where I pick it up and I shoot it, not a staged. This isn't a reality show. It's actually happening. It's a gig log. It's a real gig log. I'm not doing things. I'm not doing things in the gig log for the DJs that are watching. I'm just showing the DJs what I'm doing when I can show them. And I'm missing tons of stuff. If I go back to the viewer's post, or not the viewer, but the poster's post, the author's post, and again, why? In caps, They seem like a lot of work for very little return. TIA, thanks in advance. Well, he's just asking me the same question twice. I already answered his question. They seem like a lot of work for very little return.
No.
If the only reason that you do things in life is because you need some kind of moral dessert from it, then you're probably a shitty person anyway. If you don't have any kind of interest in helping out people who you can help, if you can help them. I mean, some people have no business helping anybody. You know, the person who can't add 2 + 2 has no business helping a mathematician with an equation. I understand that. But if you know more about something than a lot of people know, or if you know more about something than some people know, and you feel like you can actually help and give good advice, why not do it? I feel like I can. I do my best to do it, so I do it.
Yeah. Well, I think it, you know, and I get the whole, it's a lot of work. I'm terrible at editing. So if I shot a gig log on the flip and downloaded it, I would look at it and be like, it's 12 minutes long. It's too long. Let me cut all this and make it 7 or 8 minutes long and post it. But we're talking minutes of time. I talked to some of these DJs who are like, man, it's going to take 2 days to edit this.
Yeah.
Well, then, you know, you need to hire someone, hire a videographer to come with you to the event, because is it, and I think this is a question that a lot of other YouTubers would have a tough time with. If it's not all about you, then would you be willing to change the gig logs you've posted and cut you out and just show it without you in the shot? And I think you'd find very quickly, no, because their angle, and I think his question is less about you and me and more about the bigger name guys in that are the flavor of the day, because their videos are, this is what you can have for X amount of money. I've had the famous same question. Do you have any examples of you doing a grand entrance? And I'm like, I think so, but I'm not positive, but I have to ask why. Now, they might say to me, well, we don't want that goofy DJ voice.
Okay,
I know.
Okay, hold on a second. When I said people asking me about grand entrances, it was other DJs asking me about it.
Oh, I've got clients asking. I have clients that
clients don't watch my videos. That's what I was trying to tell you.
Right? No. I understand that, Brian, but they probably do. They probably do, and you can't qualify the answer that they don't because you don't know who your viewers are. You can't scope every viewer out of the video.
They're not mentioning it. They're not, oh, we found you.
You got millions of views. It's not like you're sitting there in the kingdom in the basement going, oh, another bride watched it. I'm going to delete this. You know, it happens. But people want to feel comfortable with the decision they've made to hire the vendor that they've hired.
I may have just misspoke here, and I just wanted to clarify that when I said people ask me about you need to shoot a video of you doing a grand entrance, it's not a client asking me. It's the DJ who's never done one who wants to learn how to do it. And I'm thinking to myself, I want to help you, but I'm busy doing this gig. And
that makes sense.
I'm not going to bring somebody in to shoot this. So that's what I meant. I want to just make that clear.
Okay. And just to be clear as well, I've had actual clients say, do you have examples of you on the microphone? Because they have a perception of what they don't want or they do want. And I can probably go find tonight 25 DJs that I know who speak with a DJ voice, the inflection, the like, hey, everybody get excited. And they make more money than I make. So from where I stand, they're right because their clients understand them. But my clients may not understand them. Just like you and I and Howie and everyone else in the chill room has had this discussion of, you know, I've got 2 or 3 hours of dancing and that's it. And I'm not playing line dances and I'm not playing the chicken dance and this and this. And I've got DJs who are super busy, super popular. Oh, dude, my wedding's at 5 hours, packed dance floor, chicken dance 6 times, yada, yada, yada. We're all different. I think the benefit of these videos ultimately comes down to it's a moment in time, one, for the client to relive, but also 2, for others to either learn from or to reference. Whether it's a DJ who wants to learn what to do at a wedding, or if it's a future client. I mean, if you did more gigs, if you promoted you doing more weddings based on videos, then it would become a marketing tool. You view it as it's just there to do what it does, and if I can help somebody.
It's there for a specific reason.
You're very Tom Waite about this whole thing.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you, as I said, answer these
Waite.
questions in the last half hour. I'm doing them to help DJs. I'm doing them for a personal log for myself so I can see my growth.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not, nor have I ever done them specifically to market myself to clients.
Right.
If they see it and they call me like a couple gay dudes have, then that's great. I'm happy to, hey, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. You know, that really wasn't made for DJs or for clients, but they're only made for DJs. But if you like what you saw, I'm glad that you did, and let's do business. But that's not their purpose. That's not why they're created. If they were created for marketing specifically, they would be done different.
Now, let me ask you this. Are there gig logs that you have thought of doing that you didn't do? I.e., I think I've only shot 1 or 2 same-sex weddings, whereas I've done 50 of them because I didn't want to assume that everybody knew who was what, and then come to find out later you outed somebody by shooting the video.
I think if someone's having a wedding and there's pictures there,
I know that, but
everybody pretty much knows who they are.
I realize that. Well, and my other rule is I won't shoot school events.
Yeah, no,
at all.
You don't want to do that. No,
nothing under 18. So if they're under 18,
I've done them as long as I know, and I look at the footage that I've captured silhouettes or everyone's a vague image or
right, yeah. Or and something. I've done the same, and I found that that's really clear. Those 2 little girls' faces, scrap.
Right. No, yeah, we're not using that shot.
No. But I kind of always use the weddings are private events, a gay wedding, and again, I'm going back 5, 10, 15 years,
right?
Is especially a private event, even though they're very gay to me and they're very out to me. Is this going to be something if I start tagging or somebody stumbles upon it? Could it be viewed negatively? So
I understand where you're coming from.
You know where I'm coming from? Yeah.
I will say this though, okay, and I will go back to something that you said to me a long time ago. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. And
I agree.
What's happening here is I remember when I started doing gig logs 14 years ago, there was a multi-op that I was doing subcontracts for. In fact, it was the same multi-op that I started with in the 80s. I was doing some subcontract work for them. Now, the subcontract work I was doing for them was strictly schools, usually junior high schools.
Right.
Very low pay stuff. It wasn't weddings and such. It wasn't shooting the kid stuff.
Right.
The only time I shot a gig for kids was when it was my kid and it was her school, but I really wasn't showing the audience. But anyway, I remember he called me and told me, you can't do that because there's too much liability. Someone's going to sue you, all this stuff. At one ear and at the other, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission because you can talk yourself out of doing anything. You've got to give yourself a reason to do it and be smart about it.
Yeah. And not go crazy.
Yeah.
I found out
moderation on everything.
Right. I found out 2 years ago, I did a wedding and they had been to a wedding I did now 6 years ago. And at the wedding 2 years ago, a former NFL football player whose wedding I did when he was a playing football player for the NFL, and his brother played for the Packers at the time and was very famous. I shot the video of the wedding. I posted it. I got decent traffic on it. Didn't monetize it. And I remember saying to them a couple of years ago when I saw them at this other wedding, because they were friends with the new bride, oh my God, your wedding was so much fun. Oh, we have such great memories. I'm like, you saw the video, right? I'm like, no. And I showed them their first dance because I had captured the video on the gig log. And I never mentioned his brother's name. I didn't go into names. Right. I didn't do any of that. But I remember them being shocked, like, oh my God, we didn't even know this existed.
Yeah.
And it did get a little voice in my head like, shit, you better be careful. Like,
you were smart about it though, because you were vague about it. And that's something that I do. You talk, and this is something that you were talking about earlier, and I apologize, I did cut you off because I wasn't quite ready for that part yet. But you were saying how in marketing, you're saying, hey, look, if you're getting married to the Milwaukee Domes, here's what his wedding looked like in the Milwaukee Domes. Now, the Milwaukee Domes is a landmark, like a big landmark in town. But Bob's Bingo Hall and Banquet Center is not. Okay.
Right.
What I don't want to do is I try to be vague about venues unless it's a unique venue. I did one where I lit up the Rotunda in Waukesha. It's a cool it's a historic landmark.
Right.
It is what it is. And I put in the video, I'm lighting up the Rotunda in Waukesha. But I don't do that very often. I try to be vague about halls. I'm definitely vague about people. I don't want to give last names.
No.
I mean, everybody's Aunt Betty and, you know.
But I think venues are okay because I think that's, to the point, I think that's a huge part of showing not only diversity, but if somebody said to me, top 5 questions to ask a vendor for a wedding, number 1, have you worked at the venue? Well, and every DJ we know, if you go to their website, they have every venue in their city with a link. Because what they're trying to do is to express to you, they've been everywhere. I've talked to DJs who have been to venues where I work, and they're telling me how they don't like this, this, and this. I'm like, I think you have it confused with another venue because they don't have that. No, I was there. I'm like, no, you really weren't. They don't have an elevator. It's a 1-story home. There's no elevator. So you're thinking of something else. Nope, it's on my website. I've been there. Well, you haven't. So we as DJs oftentimes try to market ourselves to the biggest possible audience, and the best way to capitalize is to ride on the back of a venue. Because if you're getting married at the Hilton, you'd like to know that I know where it is and I've been there. Well, if I have a video called Wedding at the Hilton on this date, it's half marketing to the future and mostly marketing to the present. Yeah. And my clients will come back to me. I have a client that's just been married 4 years, and they said, we may have a party on our 5th wedding anniversary. We want you to DJ it. And they now moved to North Carolina.
You're saying. I'm only speaking for me as a producer of content and what I do and why I do it.
Right.
I did a gig log for Saturday. Okay. Something very specific happened in the gig log that I put on the gig log. Something very specific. And it wasn't flattering to the hall.
Oh.
I'll tell you what it was.
Oh.
What happened was, and again, my videos are for DJs. They're not for clients. They're not for anybody else. I go to this hall. I didn't mention the name of the place. I didn't say specifically where it was.
Where was it? Racine?
It was near Racine.
Oh, so there was a crack deal.
It was in a
crackhead.
It was in a suburb of Racine because
then there was a shooting and a crackhead. I knew it.
So I had on my timeline that they were going to cut their cake at 5:20. There was going to be prayer at 5:25, and we were going to eat at 5:30. It's 5:20. I don't see a cake. I don't see food. So I go up to the bartender and I said, hey, the only person there, I'm like, hey, I got a cake cutting at 5:20. I don't see a cake. And there's food that's supposed to be served in 10 minutes. I don't see food. What's going on here? Well, I'll talk to catering when I'm done mixing these drinks. That took another 5 minutes or so. She finally goes back and brings catering out. And catering says, we have the cake and we'll bring the food out soon, but we can't touch the cake. So what do you mean? So we can't be responsible for the cake. Someone here has to physically take the cake out of the cooler and put it on the table.
Oh, they're playing that card.
So I went and I got some people that Ryan, who was the son of the groom who was doing the prayer, I had a dialogue with. Seemed like a pretty cool guy about my age. I'm like, hey, Ryan, can you help me out with something? They won't touch the cake. Can you? I'll take care of it. So Ryan and his wife take care of this. And catering's standing right there. It's like, okay, so we're doing it now. So you guys can cut this up and have it ready to serve for dessert. and catering says to me, look, I can cut a cake and have it ready to be served for dessert, or I can dismiss tables. I can't do both. Well, I guess I'm dismissing tables then. Let's expedite this. Totally their job to dismiss tables. Totally their job to have this cake cut up and served for dessert. If that was the deal. The bride was right there. Say, hey, we agreed to this. It's like, well, I can't do it. Well, they're short-staffed. I understand there's staffing issues right now, whatever. But I mentioned that in the gig log. And I didn't do it because I wanted to show people what it was like to play in this hall that incidentally had a limit of 95 decibels. And the reason they had the limit of 95 decibels is because if you go on their website, it says, we can split the hall in two and we have soundproof walls for your listening enjoyment. Well, of course your walls are soundproof at 95 decibels. You know, come on, man. This empty pack of Marlboro cigarettes is probably soundproof at 95 decibels.
But your gig log, in my opinion, there was two big takeaways that were helpful, should be helpful to a lot of people, is that you were a team player to say, okay, somebody is playing hardball, like I can't do two things, I'll dismiss the tables. There you go. It's like you're being a nice guy by doing that and being a team player. But the other part, you know, I would empathize with the venue, like, hey, look, we've seen plenty of videos where the cakes fall over. They don't want to take the liability. You went ahead and you guys got the
Actually,
thing.
I didn't even mention the cake thing in the video. I don't think I mentioned the cake thing in the video as far as bringing it out.
Right.
And when we were having the conversation between catering, the client, and myself, I said, well, let's expedite things. I'll dismiss the tables. And they said, okay. I said, you know why I don't dismiss tables is because I don't know your rhythm. What's the point of dismissing these tables? I mean, what are you trying to achieve with your dismissal? You know what I mean? I mean, this isn't my gig. I'm not a caterer. I don't know what kind of pacing you're looking for.
Right.
And she says, oh, just don't let the line get too long. That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but I didn't know. Sometimes they don't want too many people there because of this, that, and the other, and whatever. So I did it. It wasn't a big deal. And I didn't, what word do I want to use? I didn't protest. I didn't sound annoyed by it or anything else. But on the video, I let the DJs know, well, I guess I'm dismissing tables. So it
my
wasn't
rule
like,
of thumb, for
you know what I'm
whatever
saying?
it's worth. Yeah. Now, my rule of thumb, for whatever it's worth, when it's a buffet and it's don't let the line get too long, is the line is too long if the last person in line's butt is right up against somebody's head that's sitting at a table. I'm just saying.
I don't know why it makes a difference.
I'm giving him 6 feet, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like pre-boarding an airplane. The plane's taking off at the same goddamn time. What difference does it make who gets on first? The plane's still leaving at this time. It doesn't matter. So am I privileged to go sit in a cramped seat before everybody else sits in a cramped seat? Or am I privileged to chill out here in a big chair like this until I absolutely have to get in that cramped seat? Well, people want to get in the cramped seat first. It's stupid. The plane's still leaving at the same time. So it's the same thing with the buffet line. I don't get it. Why not just say, go eat? I don't know.
Because they don't want the big line. I got hired to do a wedding on July 3rd, a week out. And the DJ called me and he goes, yeah, you come highly recommended. Here's what I can pay you. And I'm like, okay, I need a little more. Okay, we agreed. Okay, great. Send you the music, send you this. I've worked with this family. They're great. Don't worry. I said, okay, no problems. I'll show up early. Of course, you show up. Nothing's the way that you were told it would be, but you're there early so you can take care of it. But the one thing he said to me was, during dinner, just release tables. I said, okay, I'll take care of it. He goes, you know, do table 1 and 12, 2 and 11, 3. And I go, yeah, I don't announce tables. What?
Right.
I don't announce tables. What do you mean? I said, well, I don't eat or drink at the wedding. So I'm available to put music on, and then I'll make an announcement. Folks, if you want to please remain seated, I will physically come around and release each table individually. Right. I'll do 2 at a time. You guys will be good to go in the buffet. Probably have the whole room of you done in the next 20, 25 minutes. not to worry. Kick back, have a drink, talk to your friends at the table, have a good time. Again, a round of applause for the bride and groom. I hit play in the song, and then I release the first 2 tables. But I won't announce it. Like, and only once have I ever announced it at a wedding that had 350 people. The caterer was the uncle of the bride, and he was in my face, ready to fight me. And he was a tiny little guy, ready to swing on me. Like I said, I'll just walk around. He goes, no, you say numbers. Here are the numbers. You do what I tell you. And I go, okay, that's not going to happen.
Pesci in my head.
Well, if Joe Pesci was Filipino, you'd be right. And I said, okay, well, I'm really not comfortable with this. And he goes, fuck you. And he runs over to the bride and groom. And the bride comes over. She goes, hey, I'm really sorry. My uncle's really freaked out. He said, you're not willing to do the tables? I said, I told him I wasn't willing to announce them. I would go to them and ask them to go to the buffet. Oh, you know what? Just to keep peace with the family, is it cool if you just announce the numbers? I go, okay, if that's what you want, that's what I'll do. But I normally try to keep it very classy. And I think I even said to her, I'm like, you know, for me to announce like tables 1 and 18 sounds like bingo. It's not what I think you envisioned.
Bingo.
And sure as hell, I had to read his list.
Your order's ready.
Oh, no, he came up at the end of it. To his credit, he came up at the end of dinner. He's like, thank you. I'm sorry I was so excited. I want everything to be perfect. I'm like, well, let me ask you.
Go away.
Let me ask you. Don't you think it would have been perfect if I played nice music and I went to the tables individually and I said, folks, 2 of you guys can go up to the buffet. It's right over there. Enjoy yourselves. Have a great time. He's like, well, I just, you know, we always announce. I said, yeah, but that doesn't make it classy. That doesn't make it right. I said, in the future, maybe just say to the DJs, if they have to do it, and by the way, I think you should have done it, not me, because I'm the DJ.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to do it. But in the future, just let us do it our way, which is classy, because that's who we are. Like,
classy's always bothered me.
Well, classy in respects to the vision of a wedding.
Somebody says who has no class. That's classy. Look at that.
You're right.
So you're wearing there.
You're right, but weddings are often described with that terminology. They don't want the VFW hall.
Elegant.
Well, you know what, Brian? I'll be honest with you. I could do a parking lot wedding with Papa John's Pizza, and it could be the most elegant, classy affair anyone's ever been to by what I don't do.
Yeah, exactly.
If I don't say the wrong thing, if I don't call the table numbers, if I don't swear, if I don't call it a dollar dance like it's a strip club.
I'm with you. I'm with you on all points. I just hate the word classy. That's all.
Well, you know what? San Diego loves it. And I live near San Diego. And they're desperately trying to keep it classy. There you go, my friend.
All right. I've been told that I've gotten the light flashing at me, the red light flashing at me or whatever it is, the par. They're telling me it's time to, my stage time is up tonight.
There you go.
So we got to put a fork in this.
So what, Brian, one sentence about shooting gig logs. Give us your one sentence takeaway.
My takeaway?
In that, now you've been asked all these questions, you've answered them impeccably. Now make the one sentence ending of the show as to your take on gig logs.
Well, that's how I do them. And really, that's what it is. It isn't about why anybody else does them, what their motivation is, what their point is. I don't know. I don't watch other people's gig logs most of the time, but that's why I do them. That's my motivation, and I can only speak for myself.
If you want to capture... Go ahead.
And I was probably one of the second people in the world to do it. So one of the first people to do it.
Because Brian's very old in gig logs and probably senile to a certain extent.
Some superhero with these gray stripes here. I got to shave my head.
Oh, jeez. What, me? I got the gray thing going? Probably.
Or something.
Oh. Well, the other night, somebody came up to me at the wedding and said, I loved you in Point Break, so screw you, kid. I walked around 10 feet off the ground for the rest of the night. And the guy was a rather attractive, bald, heavy-set, 40-something man. So I'm just saying.
The next time somebody says that to you, this is all you got to say to him as a reply. I know Kung Fu.
Somebody said something about it the other day, and I was like, I mean, actually, when I'm not DJing, I'm in actually a Keanu Reeves tribute band. Oh my God, we totally thought that. I'm like, okay, cool. Because he has such a large, swath of music that you can point to and say, I think that's Keanu. Now, you know what? If you want to do a gig log to show the benefit of what you do and what you know, and you think it will help others, then do it. If you don't want that as your intent, don't do it. Just keep doing. After 20 years, if you've done the same wedding for 20 years, don't do a gig log. But if every wedding's a little different, then a gig log might be a benefit, and it might help others.
The real reason that I do gig logs is because one time I killed a man for asking personal questions. Who was it who posted that again?
I think that was that one time at band camp, right?
It was at band camp.
We're done. We got to go.
I can't tell you where we're going to go.
Bye.
And I can't tell you what we're going to do.
Don't fire us, John.
People are going to get hurt.